Okay, so it seems to be on. That's a good start. Uh, is it? Yeah, the mic's picking up barely. That's probably too quiet, but we'll see. Hopefully it's not as quiet as last time. Yeah. Okay, so what to do? Hmm. Oop, there's one. Yes. Okay. So right now I'm working on. Actually, I don't. That's not even the right solution explorer. Hold on. Let's map this to the actual correct Visual Studio instance. There we go. So I'm trying to get my Steam interop working right now because of the new plugin types. I'll change my server to console so I can see what it's doing. If this is working properly, it should start the server program when the plugin activates, and it should close it during shutdown, but I'm not having a lot of luck with it closing. Okay, let's see if this works properly. Ooh. Oh, it's a little hitchy, and I'm not sure if this is the debugger or the loading of the big library data or what. Oh, I think I got the blurring working on the marquee background, or the panorama background, I should say. It took a bit to figure out. I had to get the blur embedded in the actual background, but that's working now. Okay, so that's the interproc working. Basically, whenever the plugin decides that there's a Steam game, it contacts the interproc, the interprocess server right here, sends it a request, and then it replies with a response. And the entire purpose of that is because the Steam libraries I'm using are 32-bit. So and LaunchBox is running in 64-bit in this case. So yay, it's working. And I've said before that this menu option kind of sucks because all it does is trigger the Steam install window to open, which is the same thing that happens when you hit play. So well, actually, when you hit play, it kind of does it stupider. So I need to figure out a way to make that more effective. I have client APIs for the Steam client I could interface with, but I prefer to use as few of those as possible because they break very often. So if I stick to only or less likely to break interfaces or never going to break interfaces, I haven't found a way to control where the install occurs. If I launch BigBox first, it'll just install and then call install and install the default path, but that's not much of a help. So I need to figure out how to handle that. And of course these, because they don't look like Steam things, it doesn't even try to contact Steam because it's not a Steam launch command. Only on the... This is probably a bit loud. Only on the paths that look like Steam paths does it even ask, as seen here. Set to start at least. Well, let's see if it closes the process like it's supposed to when I exit BigBox. My guess is no, because it's a pain in the ass, but I did just change it. Oh, right, exception, breakpoint. Continue. Oh, no, it did actually kind of work. That's perplexing. It sent the die command, but it didn't die. That's really odd. Yes. Let's attach to the debugger, or attach to the process and see what's going on. And I don't have any plugin code on GitHub yet, but the actual code for this server here and my Steam context is actually on GitHub now. That's a good start. Let's see. We're in the server application. Let's just pause real quick and see where we end up. Oh, that was expected. So when the command is die, it's supposed to stop holding the server. It's supposed to... Hmm. Ah. Okay, so that would only work if it was if it had a timeout on it. I've edited this code recently. Oh, let's turn the mouse on. Oh, show mouse is on. There we go. Why are you not cooperating? Yeah, here's the loop. While server hold. So that should have killed it right there. And yet it still seems to be running. Let's see if that's the case. Just going to start LaunchBox in the background. It won't be seen on this stream, but we're going to see if it's still processing commands. Okay, LaunchBox is starting up slowly because of library size. I'll tell you, it's gotten a lot faster though. I'm sitting here wondering why I'm still waiting for LaunchBox. I just realized it's probably... Yes, it's exactly what I thought it was. It's the plugin. Okay, that's a pain in the ass. The server was indeed screwed up. So we'll start the server directly. Which will, of course, not be captured for reasons. Interproc. Okay, now we will start LaunchBox. Which... Is it starting? Bloody hell. Ah, the joys of development. Okay, LaunchBox fires up. Connects. Okay, we're good, we're connected. I'm gonna look at information for this game. Okay, that worked. The process was requested is installed check for that game ID. It returned false, it's not installed. So now let's try quitting. Okay. Oh. Well, that's interesting. It rebuilt its connection. I'm having nothing but hell with these pipes to begin with. That's just going to loop forever, isn't it? Yes, it is. Okay, that's very interesting. We're going to stop and try that again. Isn't this fun? Because it's supposed to send a die command, but it's not dying. And the only thing I can think is that it's trying to recover from the connection loss instead of following through with the die command. Wow, these streams are way behind real time right now. Oh no, that's interesting. It never received the die command. Okay. That's odd. So something's wrong with the proxy. It's not actually sending die. Let's give it 10 seconds to actually send this command. Oh, let's also actually change to the correct process for debugging. The thing I'm going to do is a dummy control for the WPF or XAML with the properties in it, so you can access those properties and use them to trigger other elements to show if a Steam game's installed or owned or what have you. That's what I'm thinking, at least. And I'll add a bunch of utility functions like hide all uninstalled Steam games and the like. Uh, you get the idea. Okay. So that worked. It got the die command, and it didn't die. What the hell? That's really weird. And this is the fun of writing a 32-bit, 64-bit interprocess. Actually, it gets even more fun than that because the dang thing likes to lock up if you do anything slightly wrong with the named pipe. Play the Jeopardy music. What on earth? Yeah, this is really confusing. I'm not sure what's going on, which is just wonderful. Because instead of doing more development, I'm stuck trying to debug this. Shutdown. Pipe lock. Because we only want one message going through the one message response going through the pipe at a time. Send the die command. Yada yada yada. sleep for 10 seconds, or sleep until the command is successfully sent. Same thing with the flush. Why? I understand why it's not closing it properly when the server was already running. That's because it can't check the is running status of an application it doesn't have a certain type of access to. Hmm. There was logic in the proxy originally to make it terminate after a set amount of time if it was given that amount of time. Maybe I should use that. Because technically this behavior is not wrong yet, it's just odd. So let's try updating the proxy. First. Where are you? The old timeout code. Let's return the old timeout code. Or is it still here? Ah, it's still here. Okay. So if there's more than 0 arguments, assume the first argument is a timeout, and if the timeout is 0, it puts an icon in your shell tray that lets you right-click close it. If the timeout's greater than that, you have no control of it because it'll just terminate itself. That seems fine. So we'll come over to our proxy code. Let's see. We'll reintroduce that argument. Let's try 10 seconds. So 10,000. And now let's add a ping function. Let's see here. Ping. Ping will send a command of ping to the server. I really should just set this pipe to auto flush. And remove all references to flush, because that's so messy. Basically what I'm doing is I'm using a named pipe to send information between my application, or between the big box LaunchBox plugin and my application. My application is connected to that named pipe, reading information out of it one line at a time, where a line is defined as a series of bytes that ends in CRLF, carriage return line feed. What I'm sending across is JSON data, where any new lines that would be in the information, any of the strings or anything, will be encoded as escape and escape R. So there's no risk of a new line coming over errantly. It's acting kind of like a server, but named pipes are kind of annoying because they don't actually have a timeout mechanism. I had to write my own, and I've probably written it improperly, but it works. I don't even have it on everything. I don't have the timeout on the connect. I only have the timeout on the actual sending of information. So that's messy. And only on the sending, not on the receiving, which is even worse because I will fail to send something and then be stuck receiving nothing. Wow, that's oddly written on my part. I probably have to write a helper for this anyway. In fact, let's do that right now. Private interop function return send function call interop function call. Now we just take it here, drop it in here, and we trim some stuff out. Return the interop function return, and of course the call is now this. Okay, what do we do? Return null when we've timed out. Now we can now use this nice little function. We can write this. Much, much nicer. Much nicer. And actually, this pipe lock here is technically superfluous because the actual use of the pipe here is locking. Technically, having two of these isn't bad. Like when you enter into this lock, it'll lock down, and then when you come back out, it won't, but it'll unlock. But if you lock pipe lock and then you come in here and you lock pipe lock, because you're all .NET's smart enough not to then get stuck here. It understands that you're already in the context where the lock is, and it just locks it. It just increments the lock counter. Whereas if a completely different thread hits a lock, it sees that another thread's in there and actually locks. So that's nice because you're not stuck in hell. Because that could have been really bad. Oh, this one isn't even supposed to have a return. What should I do here? Huh. Let's throw new timeout exception. Okay. The interop server did not receive our write or our data. We'll do that. Okay, that's a bit better because that's actually an exception now. Bool return. We'll do that is equal to true, and we'll say if not, or if return, and do that, otherwise return null. Okay, so now if return is true, it'll actually try to read off the pipe, otherwise it'll just stop. Because in this case, when I set it false, but almost in all cases it'll be true. And as noted, this lock is actually superfluous, so we'll remove it. Okay, there we are. Much better. I could technically clean this up even more by taking these parameters of this object and making them members of this function, but I'm not going to yet. Do that later. This is just nicer overall. Much nicer overall. Okay. Oh, more pipe blocks we don't actually need. Actually, we do need that pipe block because we want to close and dispose the pipe. So we'll keep that extra lock there. Ah, hello, someone said something. I'm not sure why the stream is as delayed as it is. Maybe it's an issue with Restream, but it is working. Okay. Ah, yes, I was running a ping pong. So now this thing starts my server, telling it that if it waits for 10 seconds. Oh, this is C#. It's telling it, setting my server a variable or a value of 10,000, which I think I have equating to 10,000 seconds. I wrote a ping function. And now I will come over to the actual server code. Let's see, where's my timeout? So the timeout actually means right now, if I disconnect to die after that long, if I don't receive anything. Oh, plugins for LaunchBox and BigBox. Let's see. I'll just show you. Wait for this darn thing to start. So basically, there's this front end for emulators called LaunchBox and BigBox, which is very nice, and it also can handle showing Steam games at the moment. So I'm attempting to write a plugin for it to vastly improve the Steam functionality, because right now the Steam functionality is a bit wanting. I've already hit an error. Wonderful. This is... I'll just comment that out for the moment and try again. But yes, LaunchBox and BigBox is a nice front end for starting games, and because I don't want to be stuck with just Steam, I want to be using Steam, Galaxy, Uplay, all of those things. I'm trying to use plugins to extend its functionality so it works better with those third-party programs. And I'm stuck again. What the heck? Oh, really? Is that the problem? I did not realize that. Apparently, I cannot set my pipe writer to auto flush until after the pipe is connected. That's odd. Yeah, yeah, LaunchBox is pretty nice. LaunchBox itself is a free program, but the big box version, which is what's about to be on the screen when this finally works, actually does cost money. But I bought it because it's nice. The guy who makes this program actually streams here on Twitch like twice a week on Monday and Wednesday. Ah, there we go. There's Big Box. So yes, basically right now. Well, first the program has to actually be designed to use plugins. So this application's been set up to use plugins. So right now, the only thing my plugin is doing is adding this button right here that says install with Steam. It's not the best thing in the world, but it works. I'm trying to, what I'm working on is I'm going to have it make available is installed flags and such for Steam games. So then a theme creator, oh, how do I shut that theme up? Then a theme creator can have inside their theme whether or not to display information or what have you if the Steam game is installed or not. But yeah, the the program specifically designed to load plugins. The creator of the program just added the plugin feature like last week, so all the plugins are still very early in development right now. Which game was the one? 11th hour. The 11th hour is. I wonder if this thing is smart enough to put the 11th hour under 11 or the. Looks like it put it under the. It's a little hokey right now because I have the debugger attached to it. Well, I mean, you can try, but I'm not really sure what you mean by personal questions about programming. Where did I put that? We'll search. Oh, we didn't want that. We wanted to search. There it is. Oh no, don't start game. I don't want you to do that. Okay, so right now all I've done is I've added this install with Steam option, which shows the install with Steam box, which is not very helpful right now. Because right now if you hit play on an uninstalled game, it does the same thing, but it doesn't do it very well. Like it gets all screwed up. So at the very least, it doesn't do it as screwy. But what I want to do is have it actually ask where to install it and actually install it without any of this. So yeah, I'm thinking I'm probably going to have to implement the interface that Steam uses to let you install games remotely, because the client interface just doesn't have the options I need. For me, programming, well, I started programming when I was like, how old? Somewhere like 10, 11, 12, somewhere in there. Just modding a game. The game happened to use compiled C++ DLLs for mission scripts, so I had to actually learn some proper programming at the time. But all the really good stuff, all the really complicated stuff, came from college. So, you know. Like, I learned a lot on my own, but college is what really helped. I never used that search feature before, so that's pretty nice. And exit, it sends die, and it wow, that actually worked. Oh no, I graduated in 2012. Well, yeah, I went to community college, and then I transferred after I got my associates into Drexel College of Engineering, where I got my bachelor's. So I have an AS and a BS in CS, which is kind of funny. Although, honestly, in college we used Java for most things, and this C Sharp is very similar to Java, but uh, honestly, I picked up most of the C Sharp stuff because my college had a co-op program where you had to work for a semester, 2 different years, to get credit. So I ended up working somewhere where they were using C Sharp. um, I have a standard salary job at a company doing programming stuff. A lot of companies will have like one or two in-house programmers if they're a technology company of some kind. So I'm working at a company where they do, of all things, prescription drug discounts. So I program the API that they use so that you can look up prices, and I work on their website and everything. It's incredibly boring. I've only recently started even really streaming much of it. I don't stream much. I'm just streaming some development because I figure what the hell. So this is odd. This thing's actually killing itself properly. Oh, I see what I've done. Okay, this makes sense. I stumbled on some old code I wrote that actually is doing things properly. That's hilarious. Okay, so when this program runs, it checks if the Steam context server is running. If the context server is not running, it starts one, and it kills it. It gives it a timeout of 1 sec of actually that's 10 seconds. Let's give it a timeout of 1 second. Then it again checks if one's running, whether it was already there or it started itself, and then it hooks onto it and starts talking to it. And then when I go to close this thing, um, if I started the process, I tell the process to close, and we're done. And then the backup code, which is this argument of 1000, tells the program over here, the actual proxy, to die if it doesn't receive any information for 1000 milliseconds. Okay, that actually makes sense. I have done something intelligent. And I forgot about it and just ran into it. That's funny. We'll now change this from a console to a Windows program so the terminal window doesn't show up anymore. And we'll be golden. So let's see what to do now. Well, I can look at the Steam interfaces. I grew up in New Jersey and I moved to Alabama recently. Luckily, the microphone does not pick up the random noises coming from the farm animals. Hmm. I'm trying to think what tips I would have. Well, the nice thing that happened with my college, I mean, my associates at the community college was very language specific. Like you use the language we tell you to use. But then when I actually got to Drexel and was working on my bachelor's, it was very much if you can run it on our computer science server, on the server our department has, when you run this command, this makefile command, then you can use it. You can use whatever language you want to use, and that was a big deal. Although honestly, most of us use Java. Um, so really, I guess the main piece of advice would be to, whenever you have time, practice. And practice is with programming is not like it is with a lot of the other sciences, because when you're practicing a program, you can actually be making something. So if you want to make something, make it. Whatever language it is, whatever software it is, even if it's a different language, a programming language than you're using in school, it's all related. You probably want to stick with object-oriented stuff just because that's probably what you're using in college. Uh, Although you might not be, but you probably are. Yeah. Oh, and an interesting point. What got me my first job was actually I ran a website which used PHP based form systems and galleries and things, which I had integrated so that they logged in with the same login. And the fact that I had done that integration and done the editing and worked with the database and the software in PHP is what got me a job, the co-op originally, the semester for 2 years of work to get credit at my college, at a defense subcontractor. Um, the people who make missiles and things, working on their internal financial software, which was a web-based software, which was written in C Sharp and Microsoft SQL. Different than what I was using, but comparable. And it was the fact that I had put that personal project on my resume because I didn't have any prior work experience that actually got that job. So that's why doing stuff on the side with programming is important. You need to you need to be sure first you need to be trying things they're not even telling you about in school, but you also want to have some sort of experience you can put down. And of course, I lost the defense subcontractor job when the defense industry shrank because I was staying on part time between semesters, and then I was part time after that, after the second semester, until it's like, oh well, sorry, goodbye. We had to cut a bunch of people because there's less money. Worked out better anyway because that was hourly, and now where I'm working, I'm salary and I get paid more. Although I do sometimes have to fix things in the middle of the night, which is not fun. Okay, move that over there. So I guess we'll make a theme module or something. Yeah, we'll add a new class. Let's see, what's the interface the guy made? Well, it really depends on what college degree you have. Because, like, I went to college for computer science. and I received a very well-rounded education that went through a lot of different things. Um, and then there's some people that go to college, especially if you go to one of those video game programs for some reason. Uh, their education seems a lot less effective, in my opinion. Like it's almost you almost want to be self-taught and then go into college, so you have something to start with. The big thing about college-educated programmers, though, is that you know that they have a minimum base understanding of a certain specific set of things, depending on what college they went to. Whereas with people who are self-taught, you have no idea what they know. They could know anything. They could know nothing. You just don't know. So, as if anything, it depends on what you need the person for. And that's why, like I said, it's important that if you're trying to get a job in programming, you put on your resume projects that you've done, um, even if they weren't work. I mean, once you have work experience in the industry, you stop putting those personal projects on your resume. But nowadays, you probably need a college degree to gain access to a lot of work because it's a more mature industry now. But originally, you didn't need to, and there's still a lot of startups that pop up out of nowhere. I'm trying to find where I put my API documentation. I've got 531 tabs open in Chrome. This is not correct. This is suboptimal. Mistakes were made. Okay, here we go. Okay, so this is the software that I'm trying to write plugins for. And as I've said before, the guy who wrote this software is very nice. He streams twice a week development stuff where he interacts with the community and everything. I've been making requests for what's stuff to have in the plugin system, and he's been fulfilling those requests. So that's pretty nice. Um, and he has this API documentation here, which I need to look at. Okay, system events. I'm using that to start my context. When the program starts, I start my Steam server. When the program closes, I end my Steam server. I have the Steam server because the interface I'm using is 32-bit and this program is 64-bit, so I can't actually use my code directly in the program that talks to Steam. So I have the server. Let's see. Game menu item is for right-click items from games. System menu, yada yada yada. Oh yeah, it's certainly possible to learn outside of college. It's just you'll have a tougher time getting a job nowadays. Um, a lot of programming related job. Well, I should say a lot. It depends on where you're getting a job, but some of the jobs I've applied to, they gave me logical tests and programming tests, and they ask questions and ask you to like, how would you solve this program? What would you code to do this? We're gonna leave the room and give you a piece of paper, and you're supposed to write out the code that does something that we needed to do. and then when we come back, we'll take it from you, and then we'll check it later, and we'll call you if you got the job or whatever. So yeah, you can certainly still get a job in development and programming without a college degree. It's just it's harder to get your foot in the door for them to even consider you in the first place, because the college degree just automatically tells them, okay, this person apparently can do enough to get a degree. But luckily, programming is a very practical thing, and unless you're working on like radiation devices or something, it's not quite so crazy. Um, it's not like a lot of the engineering things where if you make one mistake, people die. Although that has happened with programming, there have been mistakes that kill people. That's why I think almost every college-educated programmer knows about the Therac 25, which was a radiation machine for cancer treatment, which had a bug in it where if you tried to mess with the interface on the machine while it was giving a radiation treatment or doing the scans, the guard, which prevented most of the radiation from coming out, only a little bit, so it could do a scan. The guard would move out of the way, and a full dose of radiation would be being applied to the patient when it was supposed to be doing a scan, not a treatment, and that killed people. So I guess you can technically kill people with bad programming, but it's there's a lot less chances for that with programming. At the very least, you can certainly get a job at a place that outsources stuff for someone. There's a lot of companies out there that outsource things for other companies, like management software, stuff that kind of thing, websites, and a lot of them they just hire tons of programmers. It's not a great job. It's not a fun job, but it's a job that gets you experience that you can put on a resume. No problem. Okay. So, what do I need here? I guess I'll use a theme element plugin. Create, add new item. Okay. Steam Tools Big Box Theme Element plugin. Implement the interface. Okay. Fix the dependency. Maybe I should change my capture. Hold on. I'm using exclusive capture. Let's use non-exclusive. Now, right-click will show up. Of course, so will anything I put in front of it, but so it used to be, it depends on what you want to do, but Ruby on Rails used to be very popular. It was like the hipster thing, and it's still kind of popular. But they've moved on to Node.js. That's Node.js for a lot of server stuff now. Like that's where a lot of the cutting edge fancy people are. That's basically a JavaScript server. Um, you can't go wrong with Java because tons of companies use Java, and C Sharp is good for any company that uses a Microsoft based server, and C Sharp and Java are both very similar at the basic level, although Java doesn't have Lambda functions and things. Um, I don't even know Ruby on Rails, even though I do mention it. So I guess the big ones are Java, C Sharp, and Node.js, depending on what you're interested in. Node.js tends to be server-side stuff. C Sharp tends to be server-side stuff because you're probably going to be using ASP.NET. Although .NET did recently come out with an open source version of .NET called .NET Core, which is cutting edge new stuff that's developing slowly. Right now, it's only really useful for websites and Java, just because Java's always good. Java runs on anything that has a virtual machine, which is almost everything. I mean, Minecraft was written in Java. Most people think that writing a game in Java is a bad idea, but Minecraft and Spiral Knights are both written in Java and they work fine. Okay, we've implemented this interface, and by default, Visual Studio throws in throw new not implemented exception on everything, because of course it does. And I know from reading the API documentation that is not the right window. See, this is why I used exclusive window capture, because windows in front of this window wouldn't get captured, but then you can't see my right-click menus. Return is whether it was handled or not. So return false so that it knows that this is not doing anything. Because this plugin is in the interface and it just sits there and intercepts key presses. So we want to make sure we tell the host program that no, we didn't take this key press away. You're free to do whatever you want to do with it. I don't think so. I mean, my understanding of JavaScript is actually kind of simplistic in a few places because I just use when I'm doing a website with JavaScript, I kind of cheat and I just use jQuery. jQuery is a library, kind of like underscore is also another library out there that is just full of functions with different implementations for different browsers to try to make it so that every browser acts the same. And it's got so many nice little things in it that it's so popular. You'll literally find like I think there's probably a dummy's guide or idiot's guide or whatever to jQuery, but Node.js you don't. It's just basic bare bones JavaScript. So if you start using Node.js without knowing all of JavaScript, you'll just learn it anyway. But you won't run into any browser specific stuff because it's like the JavaScript syntax and the very core of JavaScript, like the very basic stuff, like this is an object, this is an array. But a lot of the functions are different because it's this whole massive API and everything in a server. Well, I'm understanding you fine. It's just we got to make sure you're understanding me. Okay. What do we do here? So this class that I'm working on right now will fire an event whenever someone does any of these things. I'm bypassing all of these events as defined in the document. But this one, on selection changed. Whenever the person selects a different game in the program, this will fire. Whenever I do in here, if it takes a long time, the program will appear to freeze while it's doing that. So it's not that simple. Oh, generally, you pick something that you want to do and you go from there. There's some books that will guide you through how to make games and stuff. There's some websites that'll do the same. Of course, I'm thinking about stuff that existed before all the fancy game engines that are out now, like Unity. Um, if you want to learn some game development stuff, you can just probably pick up Unity and start following tutorials. Um, the only comment I have about game related things is colleges that are specifically for game development are probably worth avoiding if you plan to go to college again. Um, just because that's very it's like, here's how you do this one thing and we're not going to tell you anything else. But yeah, it's basically just pick a project and follow the tutorials relate like you're probably going to want to try to pick a project that has tutorials so that you can learn. But I'd say game development with Unity is a good option. Or trying to make plugins or mods or something for a program that has plugins or a game that has mods that have code in them. You want to find something that's probably popular enough that it has guides and tutorials. In my case, when I learned coding, I was starting on something which wasn't super popular, but I liked it a lot, so that kind of. Well, also at the time, programming was actually kind of rare for random people to be doing at home for a game. But yeah, nowadays it's just a case of find something that you want to do, and it's even better if what you want to do is extend something which is extendable already and has guides. Like the stuff I'm doing right now is I'm writing plugins for a piece of software that just implemented plugins. It's only in the beta version. If you find another piece of software that you like or a game that you like that's moddable, and they say, here's how you do this, do that. Websites is a really good one, actually. I hadn't even thought of that. Websites. If you want to learn some coding, oh, so many windows. Web coding is always a good one. And the thing about internet or web coding is it's interdisciplinary, kind of. I'll give you an example. This is a website I wrote from scratch. Well, mostly. I mean, this little module right here that I'm wiggling around is from someone else wrote this module and made it available. But it's just it's a PHP website. When it doesn't have a database or anything, it's just merging files in the back end together. And it's just a nice little website for this game. Responsive and stuff. Like it changes. Yep, Battlezone's a game. Oh, wow, this is really zoomed out. Let's. This is actually related to the game I learned programming on. I'm still attached to that thing. Yeah, it's just about getting up and just doing something. And if you're not aware of what this tool is, I went to the inspector in Chrome. That's Control-Shift-I. I clicked on this button here, which is for device emulation, and it lets me make the window smaller than it actually is to test stuff like cell phones. So it's emulating a cell phone right now to try to deal with the different screen sizes. And if I turn that back off again, back to full screen. Yeah, this is just like I said, the first websites I made were I took PHP BB, the first one, that forum system. Eventually, I moved to BB2 and then BB3. Coppermine Gallery. I made it so when you logged into one, you were logged into the other one. Um, it's a lot easier to have a project when you actually have when it's a passion project, when it's something you're attached to. And since I really care about this game and the community around this game and stuff, it was an obvious choice. And I've continued to do stuff for this game. That's why I've got this nice little website that I threw together. And and what's funny is I actually hadn't worked with PHP when I made this page I used PHP to make the old site, and then I went to college, so I didn't really have time for it. And college was almost 5 years, almost. And then I left college. I graduated. I actually got honors and everything. That was 2012, and then it took 2 more years. No, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. 4 more years before I did this in PHP. So I was pretty much back down to not knowing what I was doing with PHP. So I just looked up some manuals, and I just started working on it. My name? There you go. oh, it it disappeared. What did I do wrong? I wonder how long that's been gone. Where did my window go? Damn it. Ugh. Here we go. Here you go. I don't hide it. I really need to work on my own website too, because it's a bit of a mess. It's like, this is my website right now. It doesn't really do much. It's very space inefficient. It's it's not great. I need to do it again. Make it more normal. um my family is primarily on one side, my father's side German, my mother's side Italian, although there's various other things in there. My family tree's wacky. It contains both sides of the American Civil War. I probably had relatives that shot at each other. But yeah, Klein, German for small. Ironic because I'm over 6 feet tall. You get the idea. Let's close that for a second so I can. Okay, bring that back. No, I wouldn't be surprised if Klein was a Dutch name as well. I know it's a German name. Yeah, I don't. You might even be saying Dutch as in Deutsch. I don't know, which is German. Dutch and German's always fun. I tried to learn German in high school. I failed. Well, I mean, I didn't fail. I passed, but I forgot everything since. Hmm. Wow, I just looked back at the stream and it's way behind. I might have to like stop and start again in a little while just to try to catch it up. Cause dang, it's still scrolling through that field report website. So wow, I must be replying to you on quite the delay. Okay, what do we do here? What did we do with this control? Oh, we descended from grid of all things. Okay. No, it never, it's always highly distracted anyway. Panel. Okay, look at panel. Panel is a framework element. How interesting. Should we go a panel? Oh, no, that we need, because it's there we go. So what I'm thinking I'm going to do here is I'm going to add code so that when you change, this function fires that you've changed your selection, what game you have selected, it's going to ask Steam if the game is installed. And then it's going to set a property in this that says that yes or no, the game's installed or it's not installed. But that might be too slow, because it could hang the program up. And if I find that it hangs the program up, I'm going to have it right away set the program to set it to unknown, and then it's going to on another thread check the information, and then when it comes back it's going to update it to the right value, and that should work. But that's only if it's too slow. So we're going to write a public property, public bool. Let's do a few. Is Steam game is owned is installed. Here's for the Steam Tools tool. Okay, let's steal our code from this one. No, this one. No, that one. Find it eventually. Okay. So first we set everything false, then if it starts with Steam : / then we say is Steam game is equal to true. Then we're going to extract the ID from the Steam URL, try to parse it out as a number. If we succeed, we're going to try to get our Steam context and ask it if it's installed, and if it is, we're going to say is installed is true. And for the moment, we're going to just say that or we're going to comment out is owned because I didn't write a check for that yet. So now, how do I do an invisible WPF control? That's okay. I've been trying to get people from the LaunchBox community to actually watch the stream, but they've been doing other things. So I might have to take an intermission anyway shortly. Another thing that you'll often run into if you're programming, you'll be Googling a lot. How do I do this? How do I do that? And you'll often find yourself probably on Stack Overflow. A lot. What are filter types? That's not really important. So, WPF dummy control. Actually, better yet, how do I add a data model to XAML? Because what I'm doing is I'm making this plugin, which is gathering information about a game that's selected and holding on to that information. But I'm specifically designing this plugin not to do something with that information. So I need to make sure that information is accessible so that someone writing a theme can access it. Oh, no, that's okay. What's SRC? Oh, yeah, look at that. Look at that. Okay. So I can attach a data source as a resource to the view. I don't have to actually make this a control. It can just be a data source. That's good. That's very good. I'm going to have to test that. Okay. So I've actually got a different Solution Explorer open here, a different Visual Studio, which I will switch to. Right now this stuff is a haphazard mess because it's just test plugins and big box theme. Okay. So we will add a reference to... Come on. I do it a lot, yes. It's actually kind of funny because my classmates back in college, when they were done with programming in class and at work, They didn't want to do anything to do with the computer after that. They would, the most they do is they play a video game on a console or something attached to a TV, but they would not touch a computer basically unless they had to outside of school or work. I'm not really that way. I'm constantly on the computer. I'm a computer person. Okay. So now we've pulled Steam tools into my theme project. Now this theme project I'm in, I just copied one of the two themes that Big Box came with, and I've just been testing my panorama cube and my random video control, because there's already a video control but it only plays one video. So I made this random one which picks a random one from a folder and plays it. And this panorama cube, which I'm still working on right now, it's hard coded to show the Minecraft cube, and blur it out and spin it slowly. But yeah, getting there. But this is the platform selection. I want the game wheel. Ah, okay, here's the game wheel. So this tells me that I need to do resources. This is window resources. This is actually a user control. But we'll do user control dot resources. Yep, he knows what that is. And boom. It depends. Lately, it's been a bit grinding and annoying, but normally it's pretty good. Normally it's not a problem, and it's even fun sometimes, but generally programming for work tends to not necessarily be that fun. Just because, I mean, it's for work. How do I use this though? Is it okay? Steam data. Let's see. ST. We will link XMLNS. That's XML namespace : ST is equal to CLR. CLR namespace, just basically copying what's above. Steam tools assembly Steam tools, because that's what my DLL is called and that's what my namespace is called. If I could spell the word assembly correctly, that would probably help. Not accessible. Not accessible. Go to definition. Cannot find. Oh, right. Okay. Yes. That's two problems. First, we will come over to Steam Tools. We will make this public so it can be seen outside. See if that fixes it. Probably doesn't. We will compile Steam Tools, see if that fixes it. Still no. So now we will do the fun thing of, because XAML is really annoying. Let's see, this is horizontal wheel 1 games view. Unload project. Reload project. Horizontal wheel 1 games view. Oh, yeah, we don't need this. This is not. There we go. Now it works. XAML, XAML, WPF is really weird sometimes. Like you recompile the DLLs it's referring to, it still doesn't like it. It gets cranky. You have to close the entire project and reopen the project, and then suddenly it starts working again. So now this resource is Steam data. What do? We're gonna just do this really simple and dumb. How do I do what I want to do with this? I am not good with themes. There's a grid here. Oh good god, I've uploaded a gigabyte. Yeah, this is a grid with 3 sections. This top part, this banner part, and this bottom sliver. And then inside the grid, the person has put this other grid with these sections. And more little pieces and transitions and things. It's very fascinating. Okay. Huh. I am not great with themes. This is... I'm not entirely sure what I'm doing. Well, this entire thing is a canvas, so I'm just going to cheat. Panel of some kind, grid of some kind. We'll go with grid. Grid dot background. We'll make it red. Height will be 100. And width will be 100. There it is. Here's our magical red box. Well, I was trying to get some people from the LaunchBox community to watch it, but they appear to be busy or something. I don't know. Because generally it was, I was hoping to get some ideas and some information to bounce some things off of other people who either use this software or were trying to make plugins themselves, which worked last time I streamed this. But, you know, I don't have a set schedule, so random times of the day of streaming something probably doesn't help. Okay. That's not what I need. Convert WPF boolean to visibility. Okay. So back up in the. Ooh, whoops. What have I done? I've done something. Uh, built that. There we go. Oh yeah, there's a few places where if I click them it breaks because I haven't fixed it yet. Um, no is a strong word. I have used C Sharp, Visual Basic .NET, Python, JavaScript, C, C++, Microsoft Assembly, MIPS Assembly. Did I say Python? Python if I didn't say it. Lua 5.1. I dabbled in Lua 5.2. I've written a little bit of Node.js stuff, but that's JavaScript again. And various other more minor, smaller things. C Sharp. I use it for work anyway, but it's just simple. It's so much easier to do everything. The development tools are very good. This is Visual Studio, Community Edition. It's free. So long as I don't make beyond X amount of money for the things I'm developing, or I'm not part of a large company, I can use the Community Edition of Visual Studio. This is 20. Which version is this? This is Visual Studio Community 2017. I've used 2015 as well. It's just C Sharp. Tools are good. What I can do with it is good. I use it for everything. Even little throwaway programs I write, I use it. Most people, when they try to do little throwaway programs, they'll try to use Python or something. I just use C Sharp. Just because I use it every day. Okay, so in the resources I have my Steam information module and this Boolean to visibility converter, which is a built-in piece of WPF. And the entire purpose of this fancy little converter is this. I've not quite done this right. This is telling it to use Steam data, but it's not quite correct. And there's what I need to know to fix this. Here it is. Here we are. Okay. Oh, where am I? Okay, almost there. Steam data. I don't play games enough because I'm often busy programming something. I like to say I play a lot of games. I have over 5,000 games on my Steam account, but I do not play them enough. Okay, so this should be visibility binding. Okay, the visibility binding. It's binded to source, Steam data, which is a resource I added to the page. Path, that's the piece the value inside of what I'm binding to is installed. And then the converter is converting the boolean true false is installed to a visible or hidden value. If I've done this right, I will have an ugly red box on every Steam game that's installed. Uh, mm, in the habitual sense, perhaps. Oh, that's interesting. We'll just go to just big box then. Okay, let's see if this works. This background here is the actual Minecraft, the cube, the Minecraft. If you've ever seen Minecraft's menu, it has a spinning panorama. It's actually a cube with a texture on each surface, and I took those textures out of Minecraft, put them on a cube, and I'm spinning the cube in the background, and I've blurred the cube just like Minecraft. So that's kind of neat. Let's see if this works. Gotta find an installed game. Come on. It does not appear to be working. What have I done wrong? You're installed, right? You're not installed. Wait, I thought that was installed. I was sure these were installed. I think I've broken my code. Yeah, I'm inducing lag. I definitely need to fix that. Yeah. Oh, hold on. Where's Killing Floor? No, what? We'll search for it real quick. Okay, here we are. Come back over, and here. Yeah, I broke my plugin. Ha! Yeah, this is, I guess you could kind of call this program like Kodi, but for games. And just like how Kodi has plugins to add things, this software now has plugins. So I didn't make the nice fancy thing you're looking at. That's the software I'm adding plugins to. The only things I've done is I added the plugin to get the Steam stuff, which is not working because the Steam thing's completely disappeared for some reason. And I modified this theme to play a random video in the background, and I made this Minecraft background panorama cube. So I'm just doing little plugins and stuff. Question, and as you can see licensed because I bought this. Something has gone wrong, and I need to figure out what. Um, partly for me, partly for the community. Like, I'm probably going to be making a bunch of plugins that I'm not even going to release because they're going to be very me centric. Like I'm probably going to make a plugin that will take all of the games and do some operation with them, like convert them all into a, instead of having a Steam URL, it'll have a file that's like the app ID or something weird like that, because I'll run it through my own launcher. I won't release that. That'll just be for me. But this particular thing, this set of tools and the ability to show if a game's installed or not, this I'll release. Where is... Okay. Let's find out what's wrong here. I would like to be playing games. I would desperately like to be playing games. Oh, there we go. I just there's not enough hours in the day, it seems. Yeah, this code isn't firing. This is interesting. Huh. I do still play games sometimes. I mean, it's just the last month has been unbearable. But things are starting to clean up. Why is this not working? Am I not in horizontal wheel 1? I think I am. Let's test this out. Yep, I'm in horizontal wheel 1, I think. Huh. Why is this being a pain in my ass? Oh, that weird movie glitch just happened. Okay, let's see. Maybe I've got the wrong view. Oh, that background glitch again. The VLC player that they use for the movies in the background just randomly loses a critical frame of information. I don't know why. Yeah, why is this not working? Why is this not working? Okay, here we are. Oh. Oh. I'm just dumb. In some ways, at least. Um, this game's already installed. That's why it doesn't have an install button. Um, this horrible game, however, not installed. And thus, there's the menu button. Oh god, no, don't start this horrible thing. No, no, go away. You horrible, horrible game. Okay. Oh, oh god, that's actually gonna run. Oh dear. Stop. Stop launching, please. Okay, that was close. Um, hmm. No, I want to get back to playing games. I've just been so busy. So the goal is to, well, I could be playing a game right now, but I figured why not work on this thing that will make my playing of games easier. It's an odd thought process, isn't it? Okay. Walk away. Sometimes also with a programming thing, you'll find that talking to someone, just explaining how something works, you'll often stumble on the solution to the problem. It's a very odd thing. Yeah, I did a stupid here. I did very stupid there. This exclamation point is inverting the value. Of course, this wasn't running anyway. So that's kind of a moot point, but you know. Huh. So the fact this code isn't crashing tells me it should be working. But for some reason, it's not. Yeah, actually. It's very common for me. You see, it's finding it. It knows what it is. It knows it's supposed to be embedding it into the view. Why isn't it? Let's make another change. Let's put the panorama cube in place of the video and see if it applies. Where is it? No. Ah, here it is, the panorama cube. Let's add the panorama cube to this view and see if it applies. Or the code could just freak out. There we go. So now if this shows the panorama cube, we know that the code's reading. Ah, Windows. All this stuff is kind of Windows exclusive at the moment. Big Box LaunchBox is a Windows program. Visual Studio is a Windows-based development tool. You would expect it to be so, since it's all written in C#, which is all .NET, which is owned by Microsoft. Although I did mention that they've open sourced .NET with something new called .NET Core, but that doesn't have UIs yet. That's only for servers at the moment. Okay. I just use Windows. Although honestly, Macs bother me. Oh god, get off accumulator. Macs are great if you don't want to have to have any idea what you're doing. If you want to actually be able to do a lot of stuff, you want to do a lot of customization, you want to buy a lot of parts that aren't licensed by the company that made your computer, you want to just mess around, PCs are better. If you're not big into how everything works, you're not a power user, then Macs are probably better. I'm a power user. Why is this not working? Yeah, it is kind of weird to watch a presentation for Apple, and when they start mentioning the price, like when they finish with the price, whenever they finish, and that means because they're done, everyone starts clapping. So it sounds like everyone's clapping for the price. It's really disconcerting. Well, this is odd. My control isn't even listed. Maybe I've screwed something else up. I'll go back to the random video control because I like it more. But let's try taking the visibility off this so it's just always visible. Like so. And start. But you can run Windows on a Mac now. Just takes a little bit of effort. I mean, they got parallels and everything else. I think you can even run Windows as on the hardware or as a virtual, and it's the same Windows. You just choose which one you want to do. So you can be in your Mac and you can open a Windows program, and then you want to, oh, it's not running fast enough, or it's a game. I need to boot into Windows, and you just restart in Windows. That might be a third-party software, though. Okay, yeah, there's our red box. So the red box itself works, it's just the visibility flag isn't working. So we have our red box, and we're telling our red box to become visible when the Steam data says it should be visible, but it's not working. Let's add a dummy constructor. Nothing's funnier and more ironic than a bunch of hipsters in a Starbucks in America tweeting out on Twitter on their iPhones, "Down with capitalism," while they buy their expensive coffee. It didn't fire. Well, that explains that. So, I've attached my class here, my Steam Tools Big Bucks theme element plugin. I've attached it to this view as a resource. And for some reason, it's not constructing. As I've never done this before, I have no way to know why. Yeah. But at least I know what's happening. That's always the first step to solving the problem. Yeah, no kidding. Yeah, I've seen. There's a lot more people around here with iPhones that actually use them, but I think it's probably just because they're very easy to use. If you want to do anything really complicated, anything advanced, if you're a computer person, you want an Android. If you want to just have a phone that you press the one button, the only button it has, and it does things, you want an Apple. That's also why it's very hard to get on the Apple iPhone store because they censor stuff pretty heavily. But you want to try to get your game, if you make a phone game, on the Apple store because there's so many people in the United States that have an iPhone. They know nothing about computers. They couldn't. They're those people who, when they call tech support and they get told, "Have you tried turning it off and on again?" Their answer is no. They try it and it fixes the problem. They are the people that are why tech support asked that question. Um, and those people, a lot of them have iPhones, and they try to play games on their iPhones. So it's a huge market. It's just full of people that, if their if something breaks on their iPhone, they take it into the Apple store and they say fix it. They don't, even if it's something really minor like they screwed up a setting or something. They don't know how to fix it. Hmm. It is overpriced. The only advantage to a iPhone is the hmm, there's maintenance of it. There's the fact that if something breaks, you go back to the store and they fix it for you. Like you're paying for two things with an Apple product. You're paying for the brand and the name, but you're also paying for not having to think about it. Whenever something breaks, you take it in and they fix it or they replace it. When the new iPhone comes out, you go in, you get rid of your old phone, you buy the new iPhone. You don't try to improve your phone. You don't try to like delete apps or try to make it run faster or update the operating system much. Although I think they do have OS updates actually. You just take it in, buy a new one. It's the ultimate consumer good. You might want to look at trying to make phone apps. Just because you're around phones all the time. That's true. That's very true. They say that market is saturated. At the very least, though, it might be something to learn on. Even if you're not going to be able to actually sell something, you could at least learn how to do stuff there, and then that knowledge, the general portion of it, would transfer to other things. Nicest thing. I'm trying to find on the internet why this isn't working, but I'm not finding anything. It depends on how similar the languages are, but generally this is true. Like my college education, the stuff for the actual bachelor's, almost everything that we learned, except for in a few rare cases, were very generic. Data structures and algorithms were very big. It was how do you do this, not how do you do it in a certain programming language. How do you do it logically overall? And by learning a programming language very well, you learn a lot of these principles of how to do things. And then when you come to another language, very often many of the principles still apply, even though the language is syntactically different. Now, obviously, if you learn an object-oriented language like Java, C Sharp, JavaScript, any of those, and you try to move to one of those really weird ones, Erlang or one of the other not OOP but functional languages, you'll have a bit more trouble. And there's a few eccentricities to every language, like in Java and in C Sharp, if you send an object somewhere, you are sending a copy of the reference. If you use C, however, or C++ more specifically, and you have a pointer, you're you can actually send the pointer. You can send things by reference entirely. Instead of copies of references, you're sending references of references, and it gets messier from there. That's something that probably won't ever really come up. And you've got garbage collection versus non-garbage collection. These are differences in different languages, but yeah, generally once you're good with one, you can transfer a lot of that knowledge to another one. And once you've learned enough languages generally, then as soon as you come to one you've not used before, you just have to look up, okay, what's the syntax? What's the weird rules? Okay, got it, and you just start writing in it. Even if you don't even know it, you're just constantly Googling things, and you can write a program in a language you've never used before if you've used maybe 5 or so other ones. Yeah, I think I'm gonna call this stream for a while. I'm gonna stop it and try to figure a few things out, and then maybe start back up again later. Maybe not. Just because this is a mystery, and the fact that it's not working is annoying. Because right here, I add my object to this view and call it Steam data, and then down here I try to use it, and it just doesn't work. Yep, no problem. I have no issue talking to people, especially about programming stuff, because there's so many people out there who want to get into the programming stuff, and they just never bother for some reason. And there's no reason why, even if you end up in a career that does something completely different than programming, knowing how to do programming on the side can end up just all of a sudden being useful one day in that completely different career. And there's a lot of people I've run into also who are programmers who like went to college to be an engineer, or they did something completely different. They had to pick up programming on the side at their job to fix something or something else. Maybe they worked on mills or something, and the CNC machines needed to be had a program they would run, and they needed to edit the program to do a new thing. And they picked up programming, they did it on the side, and now they're like working as a developer or something. You never know. Well, thank you. You'll probably. I stream at random times, completely random things, so while it's programming right now, in the future it might just be a random video game. Just warning you. Yeah, I'm gonna stop this now and try to figure this out and maybe come back. So I will talk to you later, and anyone else who pops up. Uh, and goodbye.